Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a lovely day. In this following tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you on how to fake Live2D arm movements entirely in VSeeFace using the VSF SDK add-on. Now I will say this sadly does not work with raw VRM because the VRM devs never implemented bone blend shapes for the VRM format. If they did, then you can pretty much do it in raw VRM, but that ain't happening, so you have to use the VSF SDK add-on. Now, before I proceed, I do have to mention a couple stuff. First and foremost, I recommend this method if you are a VTuber who do not want to use an extra program. Now, there's a program called VNyan, which basically they have a pendulum system that basically pretty much acts exactly like Live2D physics. It works on body, it works on any bone basically at this point. It is really advanced, so if you're looking for a Live2D-like solution for your 3D model, then I definitely recommend using VNyan. But if you do not want to use an extra program, either because it's inconvenient or maybe you have a potato PC, this method probably might be best for you, as this only works, this works solely in VSeeFace. You just have to make a VSF avatar of your model with these settings and you should be good to go. Now, another thing as well, this tutorial assumes that you are an intermediate or advanced user. If by any chance you have no idea how to do VSF humanoid animations, or you have no idea what a VSF SDK or VSF avatar is, please look at the description of this tutorial, as I have resources that should hopefully give you some great information on basically getting started, since I really don't want to repeat myself or make this tutorial way too long or anything like that. But I'll still make sure to at least explain, the process behind it for beginners. But even then, if you need more information, I recommend please check out those tutorials in the description. With that being said though, the first stage of this of getting this effect basically, which I will say right now, the effect, by the way, basically when my head moves up, my arms move up, but if my head goes down, then my arms basically move down. And yes, it's not controlled by AirKit or any emotes right here, but rather it's controlled by eye blend shapes, the VRM eye blend shapes. And there's a specific setting in VSeeFace that basically allows you to kind of cheat your way with the eye blend shapes, which I'll show you once we get through the process. But first step, Blender. If by any chance you hate the living heck out of Blender, I'm sorry to say you sadly can't properly animate humanoid bones in Unity. I believe there's an add-on called VNyan, which is a paid add-on where if by any chance you absolutely hate the living heck out of Blender, you really don't want to touch Blender at all, I would recommend probably buy that add-on, as it probably will help you animate humanoid bones inside of Unity solely, and therefore should make it a bit more easier on you when making humanoid animations. But we're going to be using Blender as it is free, and hopefully it should be easy. But once again, if you don't like it, there's that other add you should definitely check out if you have the money. So basically for Blender, the first thing you have to do is import your VRM model. If you're a from scratch model, please do not use your original model. Please use the VRM version of your model in order to do the animation. So at least, when it's mapped into, VSF avatar and such, basically it will be, it'll work properly basically. Now, another thing as well, please do not delete like a mesh basically. So let's say you did your animation, but you're gonna export your model and you're deleting the mesh. Do not do this, because I did a live stream on Twitch and I deleted everything except the outfit, and because I did that, it caused the model to freak out on the animation. So please keep your mesh intact, which is the reason why I say import the actual VRM version of your model, so that way you don't have a lot of issues when it comes to setting up humanoid basically. Now the other thing as well, I definitely do recommend do one project at a time. So if you're gonna make starting with arms up, make sure it's its own project, and then make the arms down its own project, just to keep things safe. For my case, because I already made the FBX files, I have them in a single project here, but if you're making it, you might want to keep them separate, especially if you plan on adding like a sort of fake jiggle, which yes, you can animate a fake jiggle, just like how I did my eye jiggle solely for VSeeFace. I made a tutorial about that, which I'll link in the description if you want it. But you could do that, apply that knowledge, but either way, the first animation for head up, or basically what I call eyes up, should look something like this. It could be anything though. It could even be your wings moving up, which you can animate the wings in Unity though, but it could be arms up. You can even have it where legs are up, or just whatever you want basically, as long as it, as long as it works for your model basically. And for arms down, looks like this, but you can have it however you want. You can have it where wings are down, hair is down. Go crazy. Like, it's your model. You go insane. I'm just providing the base knowledge so you can apply the knowledge to what you want to do. Now, I will say also, in case you are confused how to import VRM models inside of Blender, basically you have to use a VRM Blender add-on, which I'll link in the description. Once again, all the resources are in the description. You download the add-on, install it, and hopefully you pretty much, once you install it properly and have the newest version of Blender, you should be able to import your VRM models inside Blender and basically do whatever the heck you want. You can even edit your model, so if you have a void model and you want to edit your iPhone blend shape, for example, you can do that. I do have another tutorial on iPhone blend shapes in case you're curious. Check out my channel, but either way, basically once you have your animations ready, for my case though, I didn't really animate jiggle as I was just testing out the arm movement, but basically keyframe 1 and 2, they basically just have the same pose, pretty much same thing with the other animation as well, just same pose, and just keep it simple. But if you want to add jiggle, then just I would just say, if you want to fake a jiggle, then probably just, let's say you could use about, like, it kind of depends how you want. You could probably like animate up to 20 frames, but make sure you have space as well. So if you have the jiggle, make sure you register the last frame to like about frame 1000, like the 1000th frame maybe, so that way once again, because this is VSeeFace and this is kind of like a sort of cheat way of doing it, it's not really official. So if you want to cheat it, then you'll have to probably set to frame 1000, so that way the jiggle won't spaz out of control. It'll act like a Live2D, like fake Live2D jiggle basically. Now, but basically what you're just gonna do is you're just gonna select your animation though, or your basically your the model, after you've done the animation, and basically you just go to File, you export as FBX, and make sure that on the right side you can apply transform. You don't have to, but depending on your model, if it needs it, you might want to add it, but you don't have to. But either way though, once you export your animations, which you should just go to pose mode once again, just to show you simply. Pose mode is how you move the armature around, and then I key is to register as location, rotation, scale, and boom. But once again, I'm not going to go full in depth on how to animate. Check out the tutorial in the description basically. Alright, so what you're going to do once you have your model inside of Unity, which you'll be using UniVRM to import your VRM model into Unity. In case you have no idea how to do the whole VRM stuff, I have another tutorial which is made by someone else. You can definitely check it out on how to do VRM conversions, and basically, once again, I definitely recommend doing some outside researching on YouTube and Google, just so you can familiarize yourself with Unity, VRM, VSF Avatar, a lot of stuff. Okay, they're definitely, if you're a complete beginner, oh boy, you're gonna need a lot of information. But once again, intermediate, advanced tutorial, that's kind of why I recommended that. But either way, so what you're going to do basically is you're going to import your FBX files into a folder. It doesn't matter where in your project file, which I'll go ahead and move myself away so you can see my whole screen. So basically what you're going to do, you'll just have your FBX files here. You have to make sure it's set to humanoid. You don't have to remove the jawbone, you just need it registered as humanoid. If it gives you an error, then please make sure to fix the errors that pop up, but register your FBX files as humanoid. Just click on the FBX and boom. You don't have to set up the materials, you don't have to set up the legacy blend shapes. We just only want to extract the animation and basically copy it. So what we're so pretty much all you really have to do is, once you have it set to humanoid, you'll see these little like animation files here. For my case, apparently there's multiple, probably since I was, making multiple animations on the FBX file, but you'll see something that looks like a triangle, and that is basically the animation. Make sure to double check that is correct. Just go on the little panel here and just click on play to make sure everything is moving properly, or at least if it's a still pose, and make sure nothing is bouncing or anything. If there is a jiggle, then just press play and make sure it works. For my case, it does work. So all you really have to do, the next step, is make sure you have your model in the hierarchy. So just click and drag your VRM model here, and then what you're going to do, for my case, it's going to start getting laggy as I have a lot of animations on this model. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure you're, I hope you see my mouse basically, but right here on the right side, you are going to delete VRM look at blend shape, or you're going to delete the VRM look at bone applier here, which is the default look at setting. So you're going to delete that. And then instead of the bone applier, what you're going to do, you can delete completely. For mine, I just leave it there just so I can show you that it's removed. What you're going to do next is you're going to go add component, and then you're going to find the VRM look at blend shape applier, and it should look like this. The naming is right here, and it basically should look like that. And this is basically where you're going to start applying the fake arm movements basically. So for my settings, I set the horizontal to 0, but the vertical up and down, I've set it, so for down, I've set it to 13 because of how my pose is, as it needs more effect. And then vertical up, I have it set to 10, since I don't want it to be too much movement, but just right, basically. For webcam, you might want to set this to a lower number, probably set to 1 maybe, so that way it, it's not super stuttery. But experiment if you can. If it doesn't work out with you, once again, try out VNyan, as it has a pendulum system, unless you are a potato PC, but it should be fine, just setting it at a lower number for webcam usage. But either way, the reason why I have this set to 0 is because I basically kind of want to restrain the eye movement, so that way it doesn't look left and right basically, and it just looks up and down. You could, if you want to, you could try adding left and right movement, but just do keep in mind that because of humanoid animations, if the humanoid animations are overlapping, it will glitch a lot. So please keep that in mind. But either way though, just set it to 0, or at least the top part will be 20, so at least there's less movement. And then what you're going to do, you're going to add the VSF animations component. So VSF animations, which pretty much I have mine up here. It's this long list that I have, because I have a lot of, I have the air kit, blend shape jiggles and all that stuff, so a lot. But it looks like this, and then basically you just click on the plus right here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to set the blend shape look up, which is the default VRM blend shape. Set the look up to whatever the animation you want. So all you have to do really is just click and drag. So this one here, this one's arms down, so this will be for look down. Or if you want it inverted, then just make it look up. Really up to you. And basically, just click and drag this animation to look down, easy peasy. And then you do the same thing, find the arms up, your other animation, click on the animation that applies, look up, and then boom chakalaka. Or just have it inverted if you want that style. And that's pretty much it, really. That should, oh yeah, the other thing as well is that please make sure that on your blend shapes that you have it set where the eyes don't move. So if for my model, I had it where by default the eyes were moving on the blend shapes, but if you want this effect, you have to remove the eyes. Otherwise, it's going to look really weird. But make sure those are set to 0. Just go down here, click the tiny arrow, find the blend shape, move it to 0, boom, chakalaka boom. And you should be pretty much good to go. And all you really have to do is export as, VSF avatar. So select your model, select VSF SDK, export as avatar bundle, and then boom, chakalaka boom. And that's pretty much in a nutshell how you do it. Now, I will say also, we have to also go over the VSeeFace settings as well. How do we activate the movement, basically? So this is what I meant when I recommend that for iPhone blend, for the iPhone blend shapes, that at least from how I rig my models, I have it where my eyes are blend shape controlled. So that way, if I ever have to sort of like cheat my way with the eye bones, basically my eyes will still move as normal, and they basically won't be interfered with VSeeFace's bones. But once again, it kind of depends on your model's rig. But for my model, I have it where on Blender, my eyes, the iPhone blend shape eyes, I do have my eyes being controlled by blend shapes, not by bones. So with that being said, though, we have to go ahead and do, I'll have to go ahead and teleport to the VSeeFace UI, so that way you can see the settings, basically. Alright, so here we are inside of VSeeFace. Now, what we're going to do in order to activate the arm movement, we're going to go into settings, go to general settings, then you're going to go all the way up to fake gaze. You're going to click on it, make sure it's enabled, and then set it to follow head movement. Now, the original intent of this setting is that if your character were to move to the right, or at least the head, if it moves to the right, the eyes will be moving to the right. Basically, it helps bring some dynamicness when it comes to webcam or iPhone users, basically. So it's really nice. Although if you're trying to get, basically, at least what I'm doing, I'm basically kind of fooling VSeeFace, so that way instead of eye movement, it will be arm movement instead. So yeah, and then make sure you set the gaze strength to 1. From what I tested, it shouldn't cause any issues, but just in case, make sure it's set to 1. And pretty much boom shakalaka boom. Now, if by any chance you feel like your arms are moving too much, then make sure that on the VRM blend shape setting that I've showed you in Unity, make sure to set to a lower number. If by any chance your arm movement feels too stuttery, make sure to also reduce the number. That should probably help you out. And make sure to play around with the animation, your poses. It'll probably help you out, making a great effect for it. If by any chance your arm movements are not moving too much, then make sure that in the VRM blend shape component, make sure to set it to a higher number instead. Now, one last thing though, and this is a bonus. So if you're gonna, since we are trying to get into that sort of live 2D sort of feel, if you want to achieve a sort of steppies movement that some 2D models have, make sure to go into advanced settings on VSeeFace and set avatar locomotion right here. And then make sure your movement range is set to a high number depending on your mounting solution, and then boom, you have steppies. Now, I don't recommend this to be your default, so if by any chance you're a VTuber and you basically like stay upper body the entire time, I don't recommend having locomotion on. But I will say though that if you're using VSeeFace spout camera, you should be able to toggle this. So the way that I have my VSeeFace, so let me go ahead and change my OBS settings so that way I can be able to hide VSeeFace. Let me go ahead and find it. So basically, when you have spout properly set up, you can be able to have your character pretty much in view, and you could just have the UI still on and just click it if you want to just enable it, basically. Sadly, there is no hotkey, as once again, because it has a neck issue with how the IKs are, it's not really an often used setting. But if you want it, then that's pretty much the only way you can pretty much have that, and then have your locomotion set up. Woo! So yeah, I hope that tutorial helps you out. I hope that this helps you out, and let me know if you have any other questions regarding, you know, VSeeFace or 3D and all that stuff. I'd be happy to help you out. I definitely would recommend check out VNyan, as they pretty much VNyan is basically the Live2D of 3D, basically. So that's something to definitely check out, because it does really cool stuff. But if by chance you do not want to run a different program, because I know that yes, running a different program can be quite inconvenient, or either it's annoying to open every program, or it's just inconvenient, or if you have a potato computer and your computer can't process a lot, that's understandable why you don't want another program. So hopefully this helps you out to at least stay natively inside VSeeFace, at least achieving the effect. And once again, if you're a mocap suit user or full body VR user, please don't use spring bones on your arms. Make sure to have at least a separate model that does the spring bones. But even then, VNyan, you should be able to have the pendulum, and it should also work with mocap suit users for VNyan, as it pretty much does a completely different system when it comes to the sort of fake body jiggle, basically. But yeah, I'll make sure to have my socials down below, so that way it can hopefully help you. You know, if by any chance you want to contact me for more help, I'd be happy to help you out, and you can ask me your questions, or if you have questions that is beyond this tutorial, feel free to DM me and such. Keep it 3D related. And yeah, with that being said though, hika sayonara everyone. I hope to see you guys next time, okay? Bye!